Oh, hold on. Cheryl, I actually, let me unmute you. Cheryl, start again, please.
Oh,
You,
thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Cheryl Echevarria here of Echevarria Travel. It's the first time you're meeting me. I know many of you registered from Facebook, or your good friends that are showing up from different walks of life that I know you. I appreciate you attending tonight. Um, I'm a full service travel agent. I started my business in 2008, and I'm really big on educating my clients on the different forms of travel and what is out there. We do not do cookie cutter. We don't do the same thing twice. So there's many options out there, and I'm very lucky that Jeff from Rocky Mountaineer will be joining us tonight and doing his part. For the first 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you about Echevarria Travel. Who is Echevarria Travel? Why I do what I do, and then I will announce the trip we're doing, and also how it works with Rocky Mountaineer, and then Jeff will take over. So anyway, in 2008, after um, actually, I started Echevarria Travel out of necessity. Um, I'm type 1 diabetic since the age of 12, and for many years was healthy. Everything went great, no problems whatsoever. And then at the age of 35, I became legally blind. I had kidney failure. I had many medical issues that just put me in the box, not going outside, staying in bed, going to hospitals day and night for 3.5 years. And then I had a kidney transplant. And during that time, I also learned about blindness skills, how to use a cane, how to use a guide dog. I became an advocate with the National Federation of the Blind, where I've actually marched in Texas and uh, went to Albany, where I'm originally from in New York, and Washington State, and learned a lot about advocating and standing up for rights for others. I'm also a daughter of a Vietnam vet and have grandchildren, and that are, thank goodness, are well, but they're all veterans of the different armed forces. So we're also big on servicing military, people with underlying health issues, with disabilities, and any other thing that may come across. We want to make sure that everybody in your family can travel. So getting back to me a little bit, when I wanted to travel again in 2007, my daughter, we promised her a trip to Walt Disney World, and we found out really easy. A lot of travel agents, not to the fault of their own, but they weren't educated in working with people with special needs and disabilities. A lot of tour operators, a lot of cruise lines, even to this day, they put people with disabilities and special needs in one box, and that's usually mobility, which we all know there are millions of what I call invisible disabilities, everything from food allergies to maybe you walk a little slower, you walk a little faster, you need assistance getting there. We are specialized in doing that. So just giving you a little heads up, that's my niche, but we service everyone. Now our groups, we do hosted groups. My hosted groups are with me and my husband Nelson. We do them 2 and 3 times a year. They are land and cruise options. Uh, our preferred clients for those groups are 40 and up, because I'm in my 50s, my husband's going to be 70, and that's the kind of people we rotate around. But we've had people that are younger traveling with us, as long as they're flexible to travel. Like I said, we do land and sea, international and national. Since COVID-19 has been going on, we've been looking at different options for our clients, not only the fly there, get there, all inclusive, or getting on a cruise ship, because our new normal has changed a lot, and it will be changing more and more as the days, months, and years go on until there's a vaccination or until there's a cure. So I have looked into not only train travel, especially through the United States, either on Amtrak or Rocky Mountaineer, or staying local here in the United States, because there are still COVID-19 14-day restrictions when you go to certain places. Not everything is open yet. So until we know more and more about those, we are going to be focusing on the US and Canada for the next year and a half or so. If you're looking to travel with us or having consultations with us, I do virtual consultations, whether on Zoom, Skype, Messenger. I just don't do Facebook, FaceTime because I'm on Android. I'm not on Mac or the other options, but those are the options that I do, and we can talk and sit down and exactly plan for what you need and want. I service from clients from coast to coast, so I'm not just here in Central Florida. I have connections here on the call that are in Utah and in New York and other parts of the United States, and we want to make sure that you understand that even if you're not ready to travel, but you have somebody in Washington or Wisconsin or something, we can do that for you. I'm also on all social media from Facebook to Twitter, Instagram, and plus twice a week now I'm doing Facebook recordings or live if you're on at that time. And eventually I'm going to go back into my my podcast, because I feel like I have more time and put more information out there on a podcast than doing a Facebook Live. And people could just listen to the podcast at any time in the car or whatever. And it's full of information and not sales. We're not all about the sales of where people are going or what they want to do. We're into the value of why they're traveling and what kind of experience they want, whether it's an African safari or going to Lake Louise in Canada. That's what we're here for. So without any further ado, I'm going to pass this off to Jeff Cesar from Rocky Mountaineer, and he will be doing a presentation. Oh yeah, before I do that, I am doing an Alaskan cruise August 28th, 2021. It's doing the Insight Passage, and also we'll have options for you guys to also book a 2 or 7 day or how many days you want extension before or after with Rocky Mountaineer. So that I almost forgot that, and I'll bring that up again at the end of the presentation. But Jeff, you can take it over now. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
You're so welcome, Cheryl. It's a pleasure. I'm just going to meet you on the side here. And of course, if anyone has any questions, there's a chat box that you can easily use to put your question. And you can also, at the end of the presentation, we will have time for Q&A where I will unmute everyone. And there's no such thing as a bad question. So I first want to just pause and say that you are in such great hands by working with this preferred partner, Cheryl. She is, once again, a preferred partner of Rocky Mountaineer. She'll probably know every single answer to any question you ask. But if you do stump her, I'm in her back pocket to be utilized, and I'll be able to help and support her and all of you for many years to come. If you're not familiar with Rocky Mountaineer, this is going to be a general overview of who we are, where we're located, what we're all about, and also kind of explain things really fully so that hopefully many questions you do have will be answered in the next 30 minutes. Let's get started. We are a train and tour operator based in the Canadian Rockies. We are a luxury, fine dining, seamless travel experience. We never sleep on board. You stay in hotels every night because if you're sleeping, you're missing the sights, the scenery, the wildlife, and the wilderness. We're taking you to places like Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, breathtakingly beautiful places in this world we live in that are honestly quite close to home. We're seeing, I want to be honest with you all, a ton of demand for 2021. I think that is because of 4 great reasons. First, in this crazy world we're living, Canada is a place deemed safe, knock on wood. Hopefully it stays that way. Now, Cheryl did talk just a minute ago about the current state the world is in with the pandemic and everything, and currently the tourism into Canada is shut down. Hopefully by end of this year, there will be a vaccine or cure. There will be hopefully some nice therapeutics to help make things easier. And I do believe, and honestly, I should tell you all that our owner is doing whatever it takes to make sure that we are here to open in 2021. We're taking tons of new bookings There's a lot of demand because of, one, being so unique and different, two, the location. We're not having you travel across the ocean to another country. We are the country above the U.S. So location is quite, I would say, fantastic for where you're located in the U.S. It's more economical and easier to get to where your vacation begins. Finally, in regards to the currency, U.S. versus Canadian currency, we are a Canadian company, and by spending in U.S. dollars, you're already getting a discount between 20 and 25%. So you get a lot of bang for your buck by heading up north. And finally, the fourth reason why we're seeing such a huge demand. You've done a cruise, a river cruise, and all-inclusive, and looking for something, once again, unique and different. We fit that niche extremely well. We've been in business for 30 years, privately owned. And once again, even though this pandemic has suspended our 2020 season, we are going to be fully operational and probably have the best season ever coming next year in 2021. What I try to do is set up this presentation into 4 steps to make it very easy to understand how you choose a vacation. First, choosing your rail route. Here's where our routes are located. Taking you from Vancouver, there's 3 different routes. These are color coordinated to take you across into the beautiful Canadian Rockies. Know that Rocky Mountaineer will handle everything for you. Your hotels, transfers, tours, meals, everything except airfare. But the best thing about us, if you can hold on to one thing during this short amount of time together, know that customization is key. So you can work with your budget. You tell Cheryl exactly what you want to do, how you want to do it, with the budget that works best for you, and she will customize and put together an exact itinerary matching what you want to spend. Choose between 3-star properties and 5-diamond resorts. Add nights, take away nights. Add tours, take away tours. Do what makes sense, which is ideal. I love starting on the West Coast in Vancouver and heading eastbound. So that would be, if my opinion mattered, the direction that I would love to go, because when you head east, the hills become mountains. The mountains become glaciers. The wildlife is so much more abundant and climatic. Truly the best is yet to come. You notice that dotted green line between Jasper, Lake Louise, and Banff? That's the Columbia Icefield Parkway. Been voted the most scenic highway in the world. Now, I want to share with you as much of my opinions as possible, give you some great ideas and things to do. I also want to share with you, and being honest with you, some negative feedback that I have been given over the past. I've been with Rocky Mountaineer coming up to 6 years. I receive tons of positive feedback, but sometimes you do get something negative, and it's sometimes good to listen to it and share with others so that you don't make the same mistake others have in the past. The one most common negative feedback that I get are people who spend one night in, say, for example, Lake Louise, or one night in Banff. I highly discourage that, because what's going to happen is you're going to check in the evening, check out first thing in the morning, and you're going to regret rushing through this beautiful part of the world. So my personal opinion, best thing to do is spend at least 2 nights in each place. Or if you only have a limited amount of time, just do 2 locations and do 2 nights in each. Keep the second day as a full day of leisure, or do a half-day tour. Or if you're extremely active and want to do as much as possible, do a full-day tour. It's all customizable, but at least slow time down and enjoy where you are. Another good tool that I want you to be all aware of, and something that you can easily go and watch, is we have great 1 to 2 minute videos on every single route. 1 to 2 minute videos on our service levels. Where to get these videos? Cheryl. Cheryl's going to be your go-to person for all this, for all your questions, for any other insight and details. I'll make sure that Cheryl has every single video that we have, so you can easily reach out to her and ask her to see some of these 2-minute videos to showcase some of the highlights of what you can experience on board our trains, what it's like on board our trains, testimonials from people who've been on our trains. She'll have all this information. And on top of that, I'm going to make sure she has a PDF on all of our hotels that we utilize. So if you want a list of all the different hotels you can choose from, details about the hotel, even pictures of each stateroom that we have, she'll have all that information for you. New tours and so forth, she'll have all of that. She's going to be, once again, your go-to person, and once again, is a wealth of knowledge. So you're in such great hands by working with our preferred partner, Cheryl, and I'm so happy to support her in any way I can. To how Rocky Mountaineer works, because I'm sure this map doesn't give you too much info, the dark blue diamonds are places you can spend as many nights as you like. The white diamonds, Kamloops, Whistler, and Quesnel, are 1-night only areas. So when you start in Vancouver and head eastbound, you'll be taking the train for 2 or 3 days, pending which route you take. On the green route, it's 3 days. On the blue and red, it's 2 days. Once you head over east, all the way to the Canadian Rockies, spend between 4 and 6 nights. traveling around, sightseeing, doing tours, or just slowing time down and enjoying where you are. And then after you spend 4 to 6 nights in the Canadian Rockies, you can do a one-way trip, head over to Calgary, and fly home from there. Or after spending 4 to 6 nights in the Canadian Rockies, you can do a round trip, or we call those circle journeys, and head back to Vancouver, but a different rail route than the one you went eastbound on. I have some great itineraries that I'm going to showcase later that will help explain this even further and better. So just hang around, and it'll all make complete sense in just a little bit, I promise. So I'm sorry if you're still confused, but with the new itineraries coming up in a little bit, it will really make things all make sense. Step 2, choosing your service level. We have 2 classes of service that we offer on board Rocky Mountaineer, Silverleaf and Goldleaf. Silverleaf, to talk about first, is a single-story car, panoramic views with an arch window at the top. You have an outdoor vestibule area here that holds up to 6 people. So you can go outside anytime you like, take pictures and video, have a breath of fresh air, not miss anything happening outside. On board, you have 3 hosts or hostesses who are going to handle the history, the cultural facts, storytelling and jokes, keeping you entertained, aware, and up to date of what's coming up ahead. You have all-inclusive alcohol, and it's top-shelf liquor, so you can truly drink to your heart's content. But remember, as you go up in elevation, that 1 glass of wine could be more like 3, and it could be the most expensive nap of your life. I'm kidding, it's a joke. But seriously, I do not recommend taking a nap because it is an expensive nap. It's hard to do this when you're not in a live audience because you get no laughter, but I'm hoping you guys are laughing out there. Moving on, and when it comes to food, on Silverleaf, you have Michelin-trained chefs cooking made-to-order food literally a few feet away from where you're sitting. These will be brought to your seat, plated, and it's customizable options, so you can eat as much as you like or as little as you like. But we're talking amazing fine dining by Michelin-trained chefs. Here, it's looking at around 1 to 2 appetizer options, 2 to 3 entree options, and a dessert option that changes daily for breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner, pending your itinerary. If there's, I know that I just got a message saying that I'm going in and out. If there's any part that you missed, please feel free to just type it in the chat box, and I'll be more than happy to repeat it. Hopefully the connection's getting better. Sometimes we have technical difficulties. Also, please know that this entire presentation is being recorded. And to watch this again at any time, all you got to do is reach out to Cheryl, and she'll be able to send you the presentation. Going over Goldleaf, this is a 2-story car, 360-degree dome windows on the top level. You have an outdoor veranda space here that holds up to 16 people, 3 times the size larger than what we have on Silverleaf. You notice those big picture windows underneath the word Rocky? That's your dining area. So instead of eating at your seat like you would on Silverleaf, you have a full dining area below where you're seating. And underneath the word Mountaineer, where there are no picture windows, that is the kitchen where the Michelin-trained chefs are cooking made-to-order food a few feet away from where you're sitting. This is a kitchen that's 3 times the size larger than on Silverleaf, so you get a lot more variety of food. We will circle back to food and all the chefs in just a minute. But first, upstairs, you're looking at, once again, glass dome ceiling, 4 hosts as opposed to 3, all-inclusive alcohol as well, and downstairs, a true feast for the senses. The variety of food is a lot more. You're looking at 2 to 3 appetizer options, 5 to 6 entree options, and multiple dessert options that change daily for a breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner, pending your itinerary. My favorite place, however, on the train is the outdoor viewing platform or the outdoor veranda space. Here, you get the fresh forest smells, see the wildlife and wilderness up close. This is also a great place to kind of share with you some differences between us and other trains out there you may be more familiar with, such as Amtrak or Via Rail. Via Rail is the exact same thing as Amtrak. It's a commuter train based up in Canada, taking it from point A to point B as fast as possible. Please know that Rocky Mountaineer is very different from these other types of trains. First, when it comes to Amtrak and Via Rail, you sleep on board the majority of these trains, usually in a bunk bed, sometimes with a shared toilet. On Rocky Mountaineer, never sleep on board. You're going to have restful, accommodating, clean sleeps in your hotel every single evening so that you are able to get a good, nice rest, to wake up the next day feeling refreshed and jump on board the train to keep continuing your adventure. When it comes to speed, Amtrak and Via Rail's average speed is 60 to 75 miles an hour. Good luck trying to catch a bear at that speed and take a picture without the bear being blurry. It's really difficult, I'm telling you, at that speed. On Rocky Mountaineer, the average speed that our trains are on are 30 to 35 miles an hour. And we slow down to less than 5 miles an hour for all the bridges, the waterfalls, the wildlife, the wilderness. You're not missing anything along the way. Another big difference between us and them are the train tracks that we use. Please know that no other passenger train is allowed on the same train tracks that Rocky Mountaineer is on. We're the only passenger train allowed to go by Pyramid Falls, over some amazing bridges, and through the famous spiral tunnels. Quick little 30 to 45-second story, because this also shows you how unique and different we are. If you haven't heard the spiral tunnels, let me just share with you what these are. Back in the 1900s, they were completing the train tracks from east to west in Canada, and they had the Rocky Mountains to navigate through. So the engineers built a series of tunnels, and they call them the spiral tunnels. Our train, being the only passenger train in the world allowed to use these, will go through the base of a Rocky Mountain into the tunnel and spiral inside that mountain, going up in elevation to about 500 feet. When our train will come out of the tunnel and go around the circumference of that mountain, offering spectacular views. Then they'll go back through another tunnel, spiral a different direction, going up to 1,000 feet. So the views that were at the 500-foot level on one side of the train are now on the other side of the train at the 1,000-foot level. We continue to go up in elevation, switching sides of viewing, up until around 2,250 feet. Where most places in the world, when you visit the Rockies, you're near the bottom looking up. But on Rocky Mountaineer, you're near the top looking down. And it's something extremely memorable and you'll never forget. The spiral tunnels are featured on the first passage to the west, that red route taking you from Vancouver over to Lake Louise and Banff. And if you watch that first passage to the west video from Cheryl, you'll see around a 7 to 8 second little part of that video being at the tops of these spiral tunnels and showing the views of all the mountains and glaciers in the distance. It's pretty amazing. Now, before I jump into the wildlife, which is the next part I want to talk about, you should know that the train tracks that we use are not just for Rocky Mountaineer. That would be really cool, but it's not the case. We share these train tracks with other freight, and freight the majority of the time is carrying automobiles, produce, grain, wheat, and barley. Now, animals like you see on the screen here, the black bear, brown bear, grizzly bear, moose, elk, deer, coyotes, bighorn sheep, they've become quite trained over the many years. And when they hear a train on our tracks, they think it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner time because that produce, that grain, wheat, and barley, it falls all the time. So certain times out of the year, it can turn into a train safari. Definitely something to be excited about and take advantage of. Step 3, choosing your season. Well, I'm going to share with you now the times of when to travel, especially to see wildlife. We operate from mid-April to mid-October. And there are times throughout the entire year that people love to go for certain reasons. In April, May, beginning of June, it's the end of hibernation. So statistically, you get a lot more wildlife at this time. There's more snow present on the mountains, ice on the lakes. Temperatures in mid-May are around mid-70s during the day and mid-60s at night. In the summer, everything is in bloom. It's all lush green. Average temperatures are mid-80s during the day, mid-70s at night. It really is beautiful. Sometimes you can go for a month or two without seeing a single drop of rain, very dry type of climate. And in your autumn, the fall foliage is the main reason why people love to travel during September and October. The leaves light up the sides of the mountain, offering vibrant colors. It can be quite beautiful. My personal opinion, the best time to travel, either May or September. It's not just because of the wildlife and not just because of the fall foliage, but something I touched to at the beginning due to the demand, the traffic, the crowds. July and August is our peak season. If you want to limit the amount of crowds and traffic you're in, go in either May or September, and you'll be rewarded in most cases. I can't say what next year's going to be like because I think it's going to be our best season yet once again. But in most cases, May and September, I have a lot less inventory, a lot less crowds than what you'll ever find in July and August. So just something to consider. When it comes to our tours, what we've done is bundled, packaged the most popular, most raved and reviewed tours that we have to offer. Tours like the Ice Explorer, taking you to Athabasca Glacier where you can go play in the snow. Gondola rides, taking you to the top of multiple peaks and summits throughout the Canadian Rockies area. You can take a day trip or spend several nights in Victoria Island and go visit Butchart Gardens. Or doing a helicopter tour, getting a bird's eye view of the beautiful lakes and waterfalls and glaciers down below. Just as our hotels are customizable, so are our tours. So if you're perhaps scared of heights and a helicopter tour is something you do not want to do, you just got to tell Cheryl to remove the helicopter tour and put another tour in its place you're going to love. Or remove the helicopter tour in its entirety and have the entire price of the vacation drop, because all these tours have a value attributed to them. So once again, just like the hotels, just like the tours, everything. It can be customized and work with your budget. Do what makes sense for you. Make a vacation that works with your budget and does exactly what you want to do next year. When it comes to our motor coaches, we don't have yellow buses or Greyhound buses. We have a fleet of motor coaches operated by Brewster. These were all completely refurbished in 2019 season, at actually the beginning of the 2019 season. Wood grain paneling throughout, leather seats throughout the entire coach, TV, season, letting you know what's coming up ahead and what's outside your window at all times. Or something we're seeing a little more popular take off because of the current state of the pandemic. And it says my internet is unstable, so hopefully you guys are still seeing this. There we go. The self-drive exploration has been something that's become quite popular. You can rent a car through Rocky Mountaineer. We will encourage you to download an app on your phone, so it's like a tour guide in your car telling you where to go and what to see, so you're not missing anything along the way. But you can do things now at your own accord and not have to worry about, oh, I'm going to miss the bus. No, you're driving, so you can drive whenever you're ready to go, which is quite nice. Now, Cheryl did just bring up the point about offering a cruise for August. Know that cruising is something that's very popular, and many people, maybe many of you, have already done Denali, but they want to go cruise somewhere close to home, and Alaska is a place maybe you're still looking at going to. In 2019, 49% of people who were on Rocky Mountaineer had a pre or post cruise tour attachment. It's becoming very popular to attach a cruise to a pre or post tour, especially if you've already done Denali. You're looking for something unique and different. Once again, we fit that niche extremely well. If you're doing my recommendation, what I talked to before at the beginning of this presentation, I recommend a post-cruise tour, meaning after your cruise, jump on a land tour with Rocky Mountaineer and head eastbound, fly home from Calgary, and let the Canadian Rockies be the icing on the cake. Very, I think, a great idea to definitely make that trip a trip of a lifetime, if you will. Step 4, choosing your package. These are the packages that will make better sense of how we operate. The most popular ones, I should say, that we're definitely seeing a lot being sold. The first passage to the west of leisure is 2 days on the train, 4 nights in the Canadian Rockies with a day trip up to the Columbia Icefield Parkway to do the Ice Explore. All of our packages, once again, have tons of bundle tours, but we also have about, I would say, 50 some other tours that you can put into the mix. You can change things up. You can add nights, take away nights, do what makes sense. But this is one that's very exciting, and it's actually set up quite well. Here's my favorite one-way package. It's called the Journey Through the Clouds Explorer. But here's one that you would have to edit because it has a one next to Lake Louise and a one next to Banff, which means the amount of nights you're spending in these places. I highly encourage adding a night in Lake Louise and adding a night in Banff. So it's 6 nights in the Canadian Rockies, 2 days on the train heading up to Jasper where it's bear country. This itinerary has 4 tours built into it. It's a fantastic itinerary that can really allow you to see everything, especially the Columbia Icefield Parkway. The Grand Rail Circle is my favorite round trip. 5 days on the Rocky Mountaineer train, 7 nights in the Canadian Rockies. This is a check mark to seeing and doing everything the Canadian Rockies have to offer and delivering the most train time. Another great package that's become quite popular is the first passage to the West Highlights and Vancouver Island. Taking a boat over to Victoria, spending a couple nights there. You can stay at the Fairmont Empress Hotel and then head back to Vancouver and head over eastbound to 2 nights in Banff, having a day trip up to Lake Louise, keeping Banff as your place of the hotel, so you're not spending the night in Lake Louise. But this allows you to, once again, to do a lot, see Victoria, the Butchart Gardens, and, of course, not miss Lake Louise. Have any of you guys ever heard of a site called TripAdvisor? It's a place where people spew hate and anger and negative feedback. Well, I must tell you, on TripAdvisor, Rocky Mountaineer has been given the Certificate of Excellence for Customer Service 19 years in a row. National Geographic has given us Best Train Trip to Take for the past 3 years in a row. We have more awards and accolades than the Orient Express. So I hope all this means to you is peace of mind. Whether you choose to travel with us in 2021, 2022, or many years from now, know that we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to be here to ride out this pandemic. And we are really all about delivering life-changing experiences, delivering a trip that you're going to walk away with just really fulfilling so many different things of your life. It's such a memorable, amazing experience to go up to the beautiful Canadian Rockies and to see the landscape and the wildlife and wilderness in its utmost close and beauty. It's really incredible. I just have 2 more slides and then we're opening up to Q&A because I know we're right near the end of the time frame here. In regards to promotions, please know that Rocky Mountaineer does not discount. We don't rebate. We don't work with companies like Costco. The price is the price. Now, we do have promotions, and those do change, but it's very black and white on how we operate our promotions. It's always the richest added value at the beginning of the season, and that only decreases as we get closer. So if you book early, you get more bang for your buck. You book later, you then may have to be more flexible on your dates or flexible on your hotels, and you won't get as much added value. So being very transparent, candid with you all, our current promo is Canadian dollars to hold a deposit for next year. That's very low risk and high reward. So let's say you hold it and you know, come January, you're like, you know what? I don't feel like going anymore. You've just lost $25. It's not the biggest loss. But by holding it and blocking it now, you're getting the richest bang for your buck. It's up to $800 per couple, 2 free hotel nights on Rocky Mountaineer, a free limo transfer, either to or from the airport. Please know we'll handle transfers no matter what, but this is a limo transfer, so you get to arrive or end in style. And a free dinner at the hotel of your choice. That's if you book 7 nights or longer by August 28th. Being honest with you all, on August 29th, it will drop to $600 per couple. By January 1st of 2021, it will drop to $400 per couple. By April 1st of 2021, it will drop to $200 per couple, and that is our final promotion. So this is once again the richest promo of the entire season. I'm not asking you to book now or next week or next month. You have a couple months to think about it, to talk to Cheryl, to look at different ideas. And once again, holding it for only $25 down is hardly anything at all. Very low risk, high reward. And this will end on August 28th. One other thing I just wanted to mention, just because I forgot to earlier, first in regards to mobility concerns, know that we have elevators and lifts that will take you from the ground to all of our train cars, and elevators and lifts on our Gold Leaf cars. So if you don't want to do steps, we can make sure that you don't have to. And just let Cheryl know any of those mobility concerns, we'll be able to offer you the exact trip that everyone else is able to take. There's no issue. Even if you're wheelchair bound, we can deliver an amazing trip of a lifetime. For any food allergies or dietary restrictions, also let Cheryl know. So we'll be able to make sure that, you know, there's no dietary issues or anything that you're going to eat that's going to make you, to harm you or any kind of way. So we can set that up and take care of it for you. Finally, when it comes to luggage, we try to make this as seamless as possible. We will put your personal luggage on a truck. The only thing to bring on the train with you is your camera, camcorder, wallet, cell phone, purse, ID, medication. Keep it light and keep it simple. And then when you get to, let's say, for example, Kamloops or Whistler or Banff or Lake Louise, we're going to give you your hotel room key before you get off the train. You've already been checked into the hotel. The buses pull up right next to the train, hop on there, head over to the hotel and find your room. Inside your room, your luggage will be waiting for you next to your bed. The next day when you wake up, if you're leaving that hotel, you just have to leave your luggage exactly how you find it. Minimize the calories you're burning. Leave it exactly how you found it next to the bed. You will see it at the next destination. It's that seamless of a transition. We don't want you to mess with your luggage or burn any calories. So now I'm going to unmute everyone. I welcome any questions at all. And I appreciate, once again, all of your time and support. So let's just unmute. That didn't work. Let's try to unmute. Allow participants to unmute themselves. So it looks like I'm going to have all of you, if you'd like to ask a question, you can unmute yourself. I'm going to unmute Cheryl. I did allow participants to unmute themselves if they'd like to say anything. So you're welcome to speak up. But Cheryl, you are live right now. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer yours.
Well, first of all, Jeff, I want to thank you again for hosting this with me tonight. And I want to thank everybody that attended very much for attending and participating, and especially supporting me, because that's a big thing for me and Nelson to say thank you. And you know, this is just one option we have for you. We have millions of others. I would love to say that Jeff is the only tour operator we work with, but this is becoming one of our favorite options to offer. And we will be hosting other virtual nights in the coming months as well. So if you have any questions and concerns, please unmute yourself. I think Jeff was having an issue unmuting everybody. So please unmute yourself.
Yeah, it won't let me unmute everyone. They have to unmute themselves for whatever reason. So, and I can do it, I guess, I can do it individually, like I
Yeah,
just
do it
unmuted Tina.
individually because I'm not sure if everybody knows how to work Zoom. So it might be
All right, so
easy.
some of them say that I have to ask to unmute. So I'm doing that for some in case they want to. Others I can control. So I think it's how your settings are set up that some people have control over that. So
So
any questions at all?
So tell me, if you have one trip, one opportunity to go, which trip did you say that you would take?
Would be a one-way trip. That would be my personal opinion. If it was a round trip, it would be the Grand Rail Circle. It's adding a night in the Canadian Rockies, making it 7 nights. And instead of just doing 2 days on the train, you're doing 5 days on the train.
Okay.
So I guess in order of preference, not because we're taking money out of it, but just about experiences and what you're going to get out of it, the Grand Rail Circle will be my number one. Journey Through the Clouds will be my number two, just about what you're going to experience.
Well, I don't want a one-way trip. I want to get home.
There you go. So, of course, you know, one-way trip, meaning you'll fly home from Calgary,
Yeah.
but still, the Grand Rail Circle, I think, would be the ultimate experience, and you can literally walk away from that type of vacation. It will be around, I mean, you're talking 7 nights in the Canadian Rockies, 5 days on the train, plus a night or two in Vancouver. You're looking around to 12 nights, 13 days. It's a longer trip, but it has a lot to offer, and I think it'll be very rewarding and worthwhile to experience.
Okay.
anybody else have questions? Carrie, James, or Tim, anybody out there? Cheryl, do you have any questions? I see you just got on, so hello. You have any questions? And like I said, for those that came in late, I will be sending out the link, and it'll also be posted on Facebook as well. So if you missed anything, it will be there as well. But
I have more of a comment. I didn't know this type of tour existed, so I find it very intriguing. So I'm glad I was able to get introduced to it. So thank you, Cheryl.
you're welcome. And we
Thank you so much for your time.
Exactly. And we like to bring you stuff that is different and not, I mean, everybody knows what a cruise is. Everybody knows, you know, certain things. And I like to bring the different and especially, like you said, with the COVID-19 going on, where people may not feel comfortable flying, but you drive to Canada, you can take the Amtrak to Canada, you can, you know, take Greyhound or other options. You don't necessarily have to fly to these destinations, and they're not out of reach to get to.
Cheryl, may I just add some of the COVID-19 safety and health measures that were taken into effect? Just to
Please do, because I'm sure people want to know, how is this going to affect going next year? Should we still have all this in place?
Yes. So no matter what, in 2021, we're implementing a whole bunch of new health procedures to make sure that everyone feels confident and comfortable traveling with us. We'll be checking everyone's temperature every single day before you get on the motor coach. So probably at your hotel, we'll have a health monitor that will just touch your forehead, which will tell us the temperature. We also will be separating everyone and trying to keep as much 6 feet apart, unless you're family or your friends or loved ones. Then, of course, those people are able to be next to each other. But we're going to be very mindful of crowd gathering. Well, we're not going to use the train station like we used to, where before we would gather everyone in the train station. It'd be a huge group of like 400 or 500 people all waiting to board. We're now probably going to have you walk right through the train station, walk right onto your train car. You'll be separated on the bus with extra seating. We're going to have more train cars. We have over 20 engines, over 65 train cars. We're going to have a lot more train cars, and being able to spread you out even further on the train, trying to keep that type of distance that's social distance that's preferred. There's going to be a lot more new coming out as we move forward, and all of this safety and health regulation and new procedures are all on our website at www.rockymountaineer.com. They're currently writing new procedures and such as we speak, and policies. So it was actually just updated, I want to say at 4 p.m. today, and there's a few new things on there. But I know that Cheryl will keep you all informed as we move forward, but we're definitely taking health to the most serious level possible to maintain peace of mind for all of you.
As I was saying at the beginning of the presentation when I was talking, is that we are doing an Alaska cruise and Princess August 28th to September 4th of 2021, and we're now taking bookings of $200 per person. you can, like Jeff said, you could either do before or after and add this on to your trip, whether 2, 5, 7 days, how many days you want. We'll set that up for you. Or in 2022, I'm thinking of just bypassing the whole cruise option and just taking a 5-day group with us to on Rocky Mountaineer. But these are options, and remember, whether or not you do the hosted group with us, you have this to do on your own or with friends and family. So remember us when you're thinking of booking something. Yes. Tina, you mentioned you've been to Lake Louise before. Did you do the Rocky Mountaineer or did you do a different travel option?
No, so actually, we went to Banff we went to the Banff Springs Hotel. And then we drove up to Lake Louise and up to the Jasper, stayed in Skokie Lodge. We did it all on our own. So we didn't have any tours or anything like that, tour guides.
And that, as Jeff said, also that you could have tours or you could rent a car too. If you're staying longer, you don't have to hook up with everybody else. You can do your own thing. So that's some great options out there.
Yeah, I like the idea of hooking up with everybody.
Yeah, so do I. That's why we love doing groups. We love meeting new friends and learning about each other, new destinations.
Definitely.
Any other questions before we end the evening?
Just a quick question, Cheryl. Do you do travel insurance, or we still do that on our own?
No, I always did travel insurance. Jeff, do you guys offer the travel insurance as well through your packages, or I have to use independent travel insurance options?
We do have insurance. I believe we work with Allianz or Alliance or one of them. But I'm not the insurance guru. I'm not any type of licensed insurance provider, and I would honestly go off of what Cheryl recommends, as she is a true pro in this field and probably can better know what's best considering different policies and stuff. So I'm not saying that ours is the best one to go with, because I'm not going to say that, but I think that Cheryl will probably be the best one to kind of go off of what she recommends.
Yes, and I am licensed in Florida and New York State too. I mean, at least explain the different policies, and other states I could just make an offer and not go into those details, but I am licensed in Florida and New York to be a travel insurance specialist. So we do know the ins and outs of all the plans out there. So we offer more than one option, so you can get to pick and choose your travel insurance.
Okay. And thanks for showing. It looks like you got a picture of my relative up there, so I probably ought to go see him.
Okay. Wonderful. I want to thank everybody for attending tonight. You will get in your email, once Jeff sends it to me, the recording of this event. You can share it with your friends and family. I also will be posting it on social media. And I want to thank you again for coming this evening, and look for more events from Echevarria Travel. Thank you very much.